Hello and welcome to this final video where we're going to talk about upgrading to Opera 3 SQLSE. My name's Nick Rose, an ERP consultant from Complete IT in Bristol. So, having seen all the other videos in this series about the Opera 3 SQLSE upgrade, the big question that's left to ask is, well, what reasons are there to upgrade? So, from a Pegasus perspective, it's future-proof with ongoing development. They've defined a roadmap with functionality moving forward. So right now we have financial, supply chain, payroll, XRL. We're very soon going to get bill of materials and costing. They're all in the roadmap, which gives us good optimism that we're going to get some nice new features going forward, and it will give you some feeling of future-proofing in your ERP package. It's built on the latest 64-bit Microsoft .NET framework technologies. Without going too deeply into that, it's the latest cutting-edge technology that you'd expect from most programs now. The data security that we've touched on, only the Opera data service will be able to access the database. So whereas in the current FoxPro database, anyone who knows the structure can go in and make changes. Whereas this one, the only user that will have access to the SQL database will be an admin user and the Pegasus Opera service, so there's no access to that database. We have the central server and administration console, the SAM tool for administering and monitoring and maintaining this system. The scheduling of many operations, such as your payroll update and your period ends, what we discussed in a previous video, the data-intensive processes. Another part of those data-intensive processes is that not only are they scheduled, but they run server-side rather than client-side, taking away all the processing requirements of the client. So your server, which is the biggest machine in your office, will run those services for you. There's a new developer toolkit to still allow us to have a development of bespoke applications and changes in your program. XRL has been rewritten with further advanced security, so you tie up your XRL security with your Opera and your Windows security, which will allow you to really tie down that security so that users can only see data that you want them to see. You can run smaller implementations on SQL Express, which is then free, depending on the size of your business. Depends on whether you would require an SQL license. So the bigger clients are going to have SQL licenses most likely anyway. We discussed in a previous video storing reports securely on the server, so they can only be retrieved from within the program. You can integrate with third-party applications, such as a program from Infor called Burst, which is a dashboarding Power BI style tool. There's a simple wizard-driven installation for both server and client workstations. Server for us, nice to see, they're thinking about us, but also for the end users from a client perspective. Migrating away from Opera 3, there's a migration and a health check tool to simplify the upgrade. We've used the health check tool to just check out the status of people's Opera 3 data, and it's thrown up some really interesting things, so that will be really good to see. And it will also take across any PDF files that you've already got and your customized report designs. And the last one, we talk about this all the time from a support perspective. There's an update data structures option which we use a lot to make sure the integrity of the data is intact, and it tidies up indexing and things like that. Because of the way the Opera 3 SQLSE program will interact with the SQL server, that process is no longer needed. So whereas we would lose 45 minutes to 2 or 3 hours doing an upgrade through an update data structures, that is no longer gone. So we don't need to worry about that going forward, which is great. So save us some time doing all your upgrades. And your upgrades come at the same sort of rate. Every year for payroll as a minimum, and we're expecting to see a few releases a year. So that's a nice time saving. Thank you for watching. And as always, if you have any interest in anything that we've talked about, please see the details on our website at www.complete-it.co.uk. Thank you.